so happy that you could join today live. Hello and welcome. So, we are here. We're going to get started. I don't like to wait too long because you showed up on time and I want to get started on time and honor your time. So, today is going to be really cool. I'm really excited to teach this information to you because a lot of spenders have trouble figuring out how to manage their money, especially when it comes to paying off debt. And it's not just something that you like magically figure out, even if you kind of like hit rock bottom or you have some kind of crisis. It's not like you like in the movies where you just somehow figure it out and you get it all together. What I found is that you need a process and you need a simple process that you can actually stick to over time to be able to manage your money effectively. All right, so that's what I'm going to teach you here today. And I have lots of beautiful slides. So you can just sit back and relax and we'll go through the information. I promise you at the end, you will feel calm and you'll understand why I'm so calm with money, even though I had so much debt. Like, we're going to go through all of that. So I'm glad you're here. We got a lot to get through in this training. So let's get started. I am going to see if I can actually stream on Facebook. See if this works. Okay. Okay. Unsupported. Sure. Okay. Try it. Yeah, we are going to get started. We're going to talk about how to relate to money without feeling guilt or shame. Let's see. Okay. Looks like we are working. So we're going to do great. Okay. I am going to, hello, Facebook people. So earlier today, I said I would try to stream live on Facebook for the webinar. So we're now live on Facebook. So we're going to get started because it's already been 7 minutes. And I like to start on time because we just going to get in, get the information going. So I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. Welcome to the training. I'm going to go over here. All right. Well, that's not the right one. Hold on. We gotta figure it out. That's not the right one. I just want to make this bigger. There we go. Okay. Got it. All right. So welcome to the training. Super excited because we are going to go through some information that's going to help you to start making changes right now, today, in the way that you manage money. So I don't want you to miss anything. We're already like a few minutes past because I was trying to figure out all the things and clean the whiteboard. So let's go ahead and get started and let's talk about why you came. So you keep finding yourself in the same financial situation. No matter how much money you make, right? You feel competent in every aspect of your life except where it comes to money. And when it comes to money, you feel inadequate, you feel insecure, and you feel less than capable, which is not how you like to see yourself. You have a lot of shame and guilt about past money mistakes, and now you don't even trust yourself with money. right? And you came here today because you feel like you're never going to figure it out. And I told you I have a solution that's simple. So you're like, okay, let me just see what it is, right? Like maybe you're just here on faith just to see, okay, I don't believe it, but let me just see what she's talking about. When you leave this training, you will feel calm and confident with money. You will at least begin to feel calm and confident with money. You'll begin to see how you could trust your own financial decisions without fear, right? And instead of shrinking your life to fit your finances, you'll see how you could be able to afford the life that you want. And I know you've been trying to figure this out for a while, but the answer is easier than you think. And I'm going to show you my simple system for managing money as a spender. So, part of managing money is paying off debt fast. So that's what we're going to talk about too here today. And here's the agenda. In the first about hour, it's like the first part, we're going to do the training. And the training is what I'm going to show you what I teach people to do instead of budgeting and why it works and the thought process you need to do it. And then in about the second hour or second part, I'm going to tell you about the debt-free mastermind. And we're going to do a lot of Q&A. So the debt-free mastermind is the program that takes you deeper into this work. So in the first part, I'm going to show you what the work is. And then the second part, I'm going to give you opportunity to start doing the work. And I know you want to know about Debt-Free Mastermind. I've gotten all your emails. I've gotten the DMs. I've talked to a lot of you in person. I know you're really curious about the Debt-Free Mastermind, how it all works. So don't worry. We're going to talk about that in the second part, like after the training. And if you stay until the end, I promise you, you will know everything. I will tell you everything. I'm going to tell you all. I'm going to answer all the questions that I've gotten. So if you didn't send in a question, likely you'll see, you'll get your question answered too. I want you right now to just set an intention that you are going to get what you need from this presentation. There's something very interesting. I'm a student of the mind, and there's something very interesting about what the brain does when you ask it a question. Your brain is like Google. It'll go and find the answer. So if you ask your brain a question and it's like, I'm here today on this webinar. I had a feeling I turned my mic off. If you ask your brain a question, if you're like, I'm here to find out on this webinar about such and such, your brain is like Google. It'll go through as you're listening to the webinar, it'll search out that answer, seek out that answer, and alert you when you've gotten the answer that you need. So I want you to set an intention. If you have a question right now, if you have a pen and a paper, write down your question and you will get your question answered during this webinar. Now, we don't have a ton of time. We're just here for like 90 minutes to 2 hours. So I'm not going to take questions live in the session. I've built the questions that I've gotten over the last month into the presentation to make sure I've answered everybody's question. But in case you are like special and you have this super specific question that it's not answered in the webinar, put it in the Q&A box and I will grab those and I'll make sure that I'll answer your question. So I can either like in an email after this, get that question answered for you, but you will have your question answered because I think it's really important for you to really like understand what I'm going to take you through because it's very simple. Okay, you ready? All right, let's go. Before we dive in, I am going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm doing this training. So my name is Fran Caesar, and I'm a Dave Ramsey certified financial coach. I'm also in the certification process for the life coach school because a lot of what I do is life coaching for spenders. Now, before I was a coach, I was a medical doctor for 14 years. I worked in the hospital And I was internal medicine, but I was the like official hospital doctor. I didn't work in the office. And I didn't always like medicine, to be honest, but my favorite part was helping my patients and helping my nurses. So whenever they had like a question, I would like talk them through it, help them make decisions. And it's basically coaching. I've been doing it, for all this time, but I didn't call it coaching, right? I was practicing medicine. So what I found was I'm really good at simplifying complicated information. Right. So if like say the surgeon came into my patient's room and they, explained everything that they were going to do and all the treatment options, I would come in after the surgeon and sit down because a lot of times the surgeons, they were in a hurry. I would come and sit down, make sure the patient understood the treatment options so they would feel better about their decisions. And that's one thing I really loved about medicine. The other thing I'm really good at is organizing information. It's just the way my brain works. I could be listening to a seminar in my mind, it's organizing it into a workbook. And it's just, I've always been that way ever since I was a kid. So when I see a puzzle, it's really exciting for me to figure out how to sort it out to solve it. And that's how overspending looks to me. That's how debt looks to me. That's how debt payoff looks to me. It looks like just like a fun puzzle to solve. And I know that that is a super nerdy hobby to have, but you will benefit from the fact that I have a super nerdy hobby, right? Because I really see it as a puzzle. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't, I don't feel bad about it. I don't have negative thoughts when you have a lot of debt. It's just like, oh, okay, here's our project. Let's go ahead and knock it out. In 2018, I used my two superpowers, simplifying and organizing information, to pay off over $600,000 of debt. Y'all, my twins, I put my baby's pictures here. This is the day they were born. My twins were 2 years old and I was going back to medicine. You have I had like 14 weeks maternity leave. And when I was going back to medicine, I was like, I don't want to leave them. I wanted to retire from medicine and be really present in their childhood, like be really with them as they were growing up. And what I realized is I just had all kind of debt, right? Like I had every kind of debt you could think of because I had never planned on retiring before that. Before I had my babies, I was going to work until I was, they were like wheeling me around the hospital, making rounds, right? I just never had a thought that I would leave medicine. So I bought everything on time. And because I had money, from my salary and I had good credit, I was just paying things off on time. I just had lots of bills and it wasn't a problem. But when I decided to leave, that's when it was like, okay, we got all this debt. What are we going to do? Right. And I had every kind of debt you can think of. I had consumer debt, like credit cards, just regular shopping. I had personal loans. I had 2 mortgages and I was helping to pay my great grandmother's mortgage. I had 2 cars, my student loans, my husband at the time, his student loans. We had IRS debt from that year because the previous year we tried to do our own taxes. Let me tell you, don't do your own taxes. Check the wrong box and it's just out of control. So had IRS debt, you name it, I know how to pay it off. Okay, intimately, right? And I'm not afraid of it. And that's how it helps you. So the exact number, I wish I had it down to the dollar, but it was 624,000 something, right? Like it was over $600,000. And I paid it off in 1 year. And I did it without stress. But to be honest, the first couple months, I was pretty stressed. Because I knew I wanted to get out of medicine. I couldn't figure out what I was going to do to get out and what I would do, right? I thought I had to get another job where I could continue paying all these bills. But I realized if I didn't have the bills, I wouldn't need a 6-figure salary. I could do anything. But I had calculated it all out and it looked like it would take me 5 years to get out of debt. And I didn't want, 5 years of my kids' childhood of me commuting and like having them in daycare. And I was stressed out the first few months, the first couple months. But I realized I had a choice. right? I could spend the next 5 years, because that's how long I thought it would take. I could spend 5 years crying myself to sleep at night, being stressed out about money, hating my job, all those things, and really miss my kids' childhood, because that's no way to, be present in a few moments that I could have with them per day. Like I'm stressed out. No. So I decided I had a choice, right? I could be stressed out and miss their childhood, or I can make it a game and have fun with it. And that's what I did. I just decided to make paying off debt a game. And what I learned is that money loves to play. Money loves to play. It comes out of the woodwork when you approach it with a playful spirit. It literally comes out of the woodwork. I will tell you more about that later, because I thought it was just me, but now my clients have money coming out of the woodwork. They just change their mind about how they feel about it, and money is coming out of the woodwork. It'll happen for you too. So I ended up paying off the debt in 1 year instead of 5 years. And I had fun doing it, right? So the other super important thing that I learned in the year that I paid off my debt is that the traditional way that we're taught to manage money doesn't work for spenders. If you were even taught something at all, whatever it was, it likely doesn't work for you if you're a spender, a natural spender. The traditional way we're taught is like budgeting, canceling the things you love, like turn off the cable, like all the things that you love, missing out on trips. If somebody's doing an impromptu trip, you can't go because you have a budget, yada, 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 right? Cutting up your credit cards, that's not realistic for a spender. It just doesn't work. And when we try to manage money that way, it actually causes more harm than good. I'll tell you about that later too. So what I did was I used my superpowers of simplifying and organizing information, and I figured out another way, just completely different system. And that's what I'm going to show you here today. The first steps of my process is the training that you're getting right now. Okay, so let's go. What you want. One of my clients sent this to me, and I was like, yes, that's going on the webinar. I changed the little pictures and the names to, kind of like protect where it came from, but the actual like tweet and response are the same. Savers tell us extra income won't fix your bad spending habits. And spenders say, I don't want to fix my spending habits. I want to afford them. Right? So here's what you want. You want more money at the end of the month, right? You want to pay your bills and enjoy your life without dipping into your savings to make ends meet. You want to pay for your life without having to make up the difference on a credit card. And you actually want to use your credit cards every month and pay them off in full every month, right? You actually want to save money each month instead of pulling money from your savings. But the problem is, here's what we think we should do to get this life that we want. Stop using your credit cards, cancel your cable, stop eating out, stop shopping, go on a no-buy month, put yourself on a budget, or increase your income with a promotion, a raise, or a new job, right? Like just increase the income and that'll solve all the problems, right? And the only thing that happens is that you make more money and you have less entertainment for a while. You feel deprived on a budget or restricted or miserable for a while, and then you just end up right back in the same place, right? Even if you make more money, you end up in the same place, right back in the same place. And you wonder, how am I in the same place and I make so much more money, right? Like what is happening here? Well, I'll tell you what's happening. We've been taught that there's only one way to manage money, and it's from a saver's perspective. But 30% of Americans identify as spenders, right? And all of the financial education we get is from a saver's perspective. Now, granted, they're like more of the population than we are, but just helping that segment of the population really leaves us out. So that's why I'm like, we have to do something different, because what we're being taught is not working for us, and we're just kind of like falling by the wayside. So the problem is when you try to manage money according to a saver's perspective, you fail, right? You can't do it. It doesn't work for you. It's not how your brain works, and it's harmful, because instead of realizing that the system is broken, you think that you are broken and that everyone has it figured out but you. So something must be wrong with you. And you have guilt, and you have shame and regret and confusion, right? You don't know what to do. You've tried everything, right? I see so many spenders trying to force themselves to be savers, or spenders saying, oh, I used to be a spender, but now I'm a saver. It's like, no, you were born a spender. That's not something you can just flip off. What you're doing is using a lot of energy to be a saver when really deep down you're a spender. And the problem is just that you don't have a system that was designed for you, right? But you're contorting yourself to fit into that box because you feel like that's the only way to be successful with money, because that's what we've been told, if we were told anything at all. So what do you do instead? What is the best way for spenders to manage money? I figured it out for you. I've been doing this process for 5 years, and I've tested everything. I'm like a mad scientist, y'all. I test everything on myself, and then I test it on Financial Coaching Club, and then I take it to everyone else, right? Like, I figured it out for you, and I want to show you how. So here's step 1, tracking. If you get nothing else from this training, I want you to get this. Tracking is the one activity that will save you the most time and give you the most clarity. Tracking will keep you from having to create a budget. And as a matter of fact, tracking will create the budget for you. So what is tracking? Tracking is the simple act of putting your income and your expenses in a spreadsheet. It's not analyzing your expenses. It's not judging your expenses. It's data entry, data. It's data. It's data entry. It's neutral. I show you how to track as though they're not even your numbers. Like when you first get started, I'm like, just take the numbers from your bank, put them in the sheet. Don't even like pretend like they're not even yours. I don't want any emotion attached to the numbers. I just want you to get them in the sheet and let the sheet work its magic, right? And after a couple of months, you're able to get in there, do the tracking without any emotion. You'll feel calm looking at your money. So let's talk about it. Why does it work? So when you aren't sure where your money is going every month, it's like you're on an emotional roller coaster. You feel excited and abundant when the money comes in, right? But your anxiety begins to build as you watch the money drain from your account. Your balance rushes faster and faster towards zero as you hold on, screaming inside. And at the end of the month, just when you think your stomach can't take it any longer, new money starts to come in. And the roller coaster begins again. And you keep riding it because it's become how you relate to money. Like you're used to this up and down. You're used to this, spinning sideways and all of the emotion going around. It feels normal, but it doesn't have to. Your relationship with money is erratic because your emotions are up and down every month. It's not your spending that's keeping you stuck. It's the emotional roller coaster. But when you're tracking, your finances are less like a roller coaster and more like a merry-go-round. Y'all, this is an actual concept that I teach in the Debt Free Mastermind. It's called the money go round. Big difference. Money management is divided into 4 phases. See how calm this is? Big difference. So we divide money management when we're talking about the money go round. We divide into 4 phases. There's create. I hope you can see my mouse. Create, then save, then spend, then have, and then back to create. We just go around and around, right? No roller coaster, no highs, no lows, no now or never. We just go around and around very gently, very calmly. So we're going to talk about each of these areas. I'm going to tell you what I do in each of these areas and how I help you. So create is when you receive income. And I call it create as opposed to get paid or make money, because I want you to remember that you're in control of the money coming in. You create it, right? You receive money in exchange for value that you give. So if you want more money, then you have to create more value. Okay. Save is what you do right after you create money. You put a little away to grow and make more money so that you have money making money, right? A lot of times you wait until after you've paid all the bills to decide what to save. And when you do that, you don't save very much. It's an afterthought instead of a plan. And if you have debt, this is the stage where you clean up any overspending and you use what you save to pay off debt. And I'll tell you how that works in a minute. Spend is where you pay the bills, give gifts, take trips, and enjoy life, right? Being able to spend on what you want is the reason for creating money. But you get into trouble when your spending is out of line with who you are, right? This happens when you're not paying attention to your spending. So when you start tracking, you find all the places where you're spending money unintentionally, or you're spending money based on someone else's priorities, right? Or you haven't set any financial goals, so you're just spending money without any thought to what you really want. So that's spend. And have is where you develop comfort with money just sitting in your account. Now, this may seem simple, but this is really sneaky. It's actually a skill you need to develop, because there's a reason that you can increase your income and never get ahead. You haven't developed the ability to have money yet. And having money is the key to growing wealth. So that's what we work on, your ability to have. So take a moment and think about which skill you need to work on the most. Is it creating more money, saving more money, spending money intentionally, or having more money? You may need to work on 2 areas or 3 or a little bit in all 4. But what I want you to see is that you don't need to work on all 4 areas at once, right? It's a cycle. You focus on 1 area at a time, maybe 2 areas at a time, depending on what they are and what you're doing. But you know that it's not like your one and only chance to get it right. Right? It's not like now or never. There's no panic with it. It's like, it's a cycle. I work on 1 area at a time. When I go around, I'll get better and better. I can pick up something from another area. I can get better and better. It's not my one and only chance to get it right. I just keep going through the cycle, and you do the best you can. Just do the best you can, right? Nobody has to be perfect. You're just doing the best you can. And each time you go around the cycle, you get better and you get better. And guess what? It gets easier, right? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right the first time or the second time. You just have to keep going. That's it. The key is just to keep going. And these are not difficult steps. It's just that people give up Typically, you give up when you try one time and something doesn't go your way, or it doesn't look right, or you feel like you failed. And it just reinforces that old story that you're not good with money. And like I said, it's because the system that you're using was not created for you. So a lot of times what we do, especially when we're using the saver system, is you've started making changes because you've identified the problem, right? But then you stop because it gets hard or it gets confusing or some roadblock happened before you finish making the changes that you want to make. And that's where I come in. I help you keep going. And in most cases, I tell you when it's about to get hard. So as a coach, I've been down this road. I know where all the pitfalls are. And I tell you, okay, here's the part where, right? Here's what you need to be thinking right now, because here's where people get tripped up, right? This is what I do all day, every day, and twice on Tuesday, right? So we're going to come back to the money go round in a minute because there's more I want to share about it because it's so fun. But first, let me show you this. Imagine you're going to the grocery store and you've been to the grocery store a million times. You know exactly how to get there. So you get in your car and you go. But on your way, you meet a red light. Do you turn around? Do you say, well, if I'm not at the grocery store, I must be doing it wrong? Do you get to the red light and turn around and go back home? No, you don't. You wait for the light to turn green and you keep going. You know that red lights are a part of the route between you and the grocery store. It's normal, right? But when it comes to money, if you hit a red light, you give up. Or if you set a goal and it gets hard, you give up. You say, guess it's not meant to be. And you give up. And all that's really happened is that you got to a red light like you do on the way to the grocery store. Not a big deal, not a problem. Now, why am I telling you this? Why are we talking about going to the grocery store and looking at red lights? Because I'm a coach. I'm your coach. And what I do as your coach is this: I know the route. Like I said, I've walked the path. I know where the red lights are. I tell you what's coming next. I don't let you stop when it gets hard. I help you stay focused when distractions come up, because they will. Because sometimes the route to the grocery store, or not just the grocery store, but the route to wherever you're trying to get to in your goal, it looks like this with just a red light. And sometimes it looks like this. Right? With lots of distractions and lots of red lights. And it feels complicated and it feels impossible to get where you're going. But remember that I told you I'm really good at making things simple when they feel complicated. That helps you stay on course until you get where you're going. No matter how many red lights, no matter how many roadblocks, no matter the weather, right? We keep going. And that's the power of working with a coach. Versus trying to do it alone. Okay, back to the money go round. Create, save, spend, and have. Let me tell you what we do with each of them. Create. More value equals more income. Let me drink some tea. Sometimes you just aren't making enough money. That happens. That can be a fact. Sometimes you have a degree, but you're not working in your profession, right? Not because you don't want to, like me, but because you're afraid of something, right? You need to know what that is. Because whatever that is, if you're afraid of something in your chosen field that you have a degree in, whatever that is, you can handle it, right? Every problem has a solution. But if you're not actively trying to figure out, like, why am I not working in my profession, then you'll never figure it out. You'll just keep working at a job that isn't paying you based on the value that you could provide, right? So We figure that out. It's through coaching. The wonderful thing about coaching is you don't have to do anything. You just have to answer questions. Well, you have to show up, right? So you have to show up and you have to answer questions. That's it. And I ask you questions and you get to the thing that is holding you back, and then we coach on it. We just figure it out, we take care of it, and we move forward. It's amazing. Right? And then you can go on to create the value that creates the money that allows you to live the life that you want. And the same goes for when you want a promotion. A lot of my clients will get a promotion without even trying, just because the work we do together, they start creating more value in their life. Like they're creating more value in their money, in their home, and it spills over into work. They start creating more value in work. They're more organized, they're more focused, they're less emotional. And then they get a raise because that value is compensated. And if you're a business owner, creating value for your customers is the key to your success. The more value you create for others, the more income you create for yourself. And that income allows you to live the life that you want. So notice that I'm not telling you to be a door dasher or drive for Uber in order to pay off debt, right? You've heard that advice before. You're an engineer by day and then you're delivering pizza at night. No. Now listen, if you're going to be a personal shopper or deliver pizza or drive an Uber, do it because that's your spiritual gift, right? Like, don't just do it for money. Do it because you're really good. I knew a lady who was a personal shopper. She was good. She could get in, get it, and get out. And she loved it. It was like a thrill to her to go through the grocery store, grab all the things somebody had on their list, and get out of there. She could do 5 people at one time. This was before the pandemic, before it was like a big deal to do it. And I thought it was fascinating. If that's your spiritual gift, if that's how your brain works, do that for money, but don't do it just for money. Do it because that's the way you bring value to the world. It's your gift and it's your talent, right? Okay, so that's create. Now, before we move on to save, let's talk about money for a second. Okay, what is money? So I'm reading this book called Turning Pro. Actually, I just finished it. It's called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. It's a weird little book, but he gives us really great illustration about money. So I put it in my presentation. So he says, you have a donkey and you want a carpet, right? You can either carry this poor animal 200 miles and trade him in for a carpet, or you can walk him 2 doors down and sell him. Then you can put the coins in a nifty little green velvet bag and carry them to the market where you buy a carpet, right? Money is for convenience. You have something, you want something. Money is the middleman. It's for convenience, right? The donkey is your value. You already have it. Okay, the carpet is your desire. You get to want whatever you want. Okay, sometimes being a spender, we get a lot of shade for the things that we want. You get to want whatever you want. Money is the middleman. It's not the end all be all. Money is not something that's out there that we're in desperate need of, right? It's just for convenience. So what do you want? You want to give your kids or your grandkids a college education, right? You want a safe place to live. You want a relaxing vacation, right? You might be focused on the money, but the money is automatic when you focus on your value. And I want you to focus on your value. You have an idea. You see a problem that needs to be solved and you think of a solution that people will pay for, right? Or you have a skill, either a natural skill or one that you've learned, right? It's a skill. You have value from that skill, or you contribute, right? You could be working a W-2 job. You contribute to the team. You work for a company. You're all in on the mission, right? You can just love your job, and that's how you add value. This is your value. If you focus on your value and making your value increase, you will create what you want. Money is the middleman. Don't focus on the money. So let's look at the money go round again. And before we talk about save, let's talk about paying off debt, because some people focus on paying off debt as though it's separate from from managing money, but it's not, right? Managing debt is a part of managing money. So let's look at save in relation to paying off debt. Did you know that there were at least 8 different ways that you're overspending that have nothing to do with the fact that you like fancy things, right? Take a screenshot of this slide. I call them the inflated 8. In the Debt-Free Mastermind, we look at what you've tracked and we find out how you're overspending. Then we take that money and we use it to attack the debt. But here's where the coaching comes in. Between seeing what you're overspending and actually reclaiming the money, there are a whole bunch of steps. And each of these steps represents a stoplight, right? Without coaching, you stop before you reach your goal. You give up. It's too hard. It's confusing. It's too many distractions. I don't have time to sit on hold with the electric company. I'm too busy to shop insurance carriers. I don't have my login or my password for the website, right? I get it. In the Debt-Free Mastermind, we break the tasks down and we keep going week after week. You do what needs to be done. You reclaim the money. Now, once your debt is all paid off, you have a different plan for save. That's when you save the 3 to 6 months of living expenses and you start investing. You probably heard people talk about that before. That's after all your debt is paid off. We do that. Okay. So that's save. So now we're going to talk about spend. There are 3 areas where you overspend. Hold on. There are 3 areas where we overspend. So there are 3 ways that I help you enjoy your life while you're spending intentionally. Okay. So it's these 3 areas: food, clothes, and then your thoughts. And if you saw my interview on Fox 26, The Nightcap, and I was talking about food, clothes, and thoughts, this is what I was talking about. This is the most important way to reclaim money from overspending. It's these 3 areas. So first, when it comes to food, in the Debt-Free Mastermind, I'm taking you through what I call the home ec remix. I remember being a kid, and any TV show that had teenagers in it, they always talked about home ec, right? Like that was a class that they were going to whenever they were going to school. And I thought it was going to be so amazing. I was like, I can't wait to be a teenager. I'm going to go to home ec. But when I got to home ec, it was a huge letdown. I was like, what is this? Right? Like maybe they changed it. And it wasn't until I was paying off debt in my late 30s, that I created my own home economics program. So I was like, I don't know what I was supposed to learn, but I didn't learn that. So I got to figure this out for myself now, later in life. And my program is amazing, right? So that's what I teach you. The home ec remix it'll help you spend intentionally on food without being, triggering or restrictive. It's actually fun. Everything I have you do in the program is filtered through fun, because remember, I told you money loves to play. So the details of the home ec remix are a bit more than we can go into in this training, but I wanted you to know that if you're struggling with grocery bills or eating out too much, or everybody in your family likes to eat something different and nobody will eat the same thing, like there is a solution for you inside my program. I have made it a point to make this realistic, because what I was finding out there when I was looking for help was not realistic, and it just made me feel worse. I felt like a failure. I had little kids. I felt like a failure as a mom because I couldn't I couldn't figure out how to feed us all and also like save money. It was just terrible. So the home ec remix is made for you. And here's another part of the program. If shopping is your thing, like it was for me, shopping was a big deal for me. When you go shopping, you need a filter to help you decide what to buy. You can't just feel like some people, their filter is like what's on sale. right? What's on sale, what's on the clearance rack, that kind of thing. That's not the filter that you need for when you go shopping, right? And it can't be, is this a need or is this a want, right? That feels terrible. When people say that, I get like, ugh, the heebie jeebies, right? Like, is this a need or a want? What's the difference? Right? I need it. I want it now. Right? So that feels terrible. So you need a system that like slows you down and actually helps you decide. So what I've created is called the personal spending filter. It's actually, I call it a filter, but it looks more like a funnel. But there's 5 questions. And I have you to practice and take a screenshot of this slide too, but I have you to practice asking yourself these questions whenever you're shopping. And over time, it becomes second nature. It becomes a habit. Like I've been doing this for 5 years. I always, in my head, I'm always running through these questions when I'm in the store. Here are the questions, and I'll tell you why it works. So the first question, and they're in any order, they don't have to be in this order, specifically, but these are the questions I want you to be asking yourself. Does this match my style or does this match my decor, like my decor at home, right? So that means that first we have to decide what your style is, right? And we need to know what your home decor style is, right? My home decor style is light academia. Why do I know that? Because I took the time to figure it out. I really wanted to know what my personal style was in my home, because when I'm out and about, that's not the time to decide. You end up bringing home a lot of stuff, and unless your style is eclectic, you're gonna have a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't match, doesn't go together. When you walk into your home, you get conflicting information about what it feels like in here. Right? Does it feel calm in here? Does it feel exciting? Right? You have to figure these things out before you go shopping. When it comes to your style, we talk about, and we actually have conversations about this in the mastermind, but we talk about your body style. What looks good on you? What colors look good on you? What's flattering? What's figure flattering? Right? What feels comfortable? All these things are we make these decisions ahead of time. Like you're not in the store trying to figure out if this looks good on you. You already know. And when you're flipping through the clothes hangers and all that, it's like, it's an easy yes or an easy no, because you already know, you've already decided like, oh, empire waist. Like for me, an empire waist, if something has like a high waist to it, I'm like, oh, I know it's going to look good on me because I know I look good in empire waist. I typically will wear the color pink. I didn't wear it today. I was about to. I changed clothes. But I usually wear pink because I know that pink complements my skin. I don't wear green. I don't wear navy. You know what I mean? So when I'm out shopping and something is cute, it's like, oh, that's cute, but it's blue or it's navy or it's green or it's purple. Now I'm not going to buy it. It's an easy yes and an easy no. Next question. Does it solve a problem? Right? Is this something that, I have a problem at home and I need a solution for it? And here's a solution. Like I have a stack of books on the floor. I need a bookshelf, right? So if you're out about and you see a bookshelf, it's like, oh, this solves a problem, but also it matches my decor, right? So this is what we're doing. The next question, is it replacing an item? So if you're out and about and there's something that you have the opportunity to buy and it's replacing something that either is broken or it's breaking down, it's like, oh yeah, this is replacing something. It's just like an even exchange. I'm going to bring this one home. I'm going to throw the other one out or get rid of it or whatever. The next is, does it have a place? No buying furniture and then getting home and figuring out where it's going to go. No more of that. No, ma'am. It has to have a place already before you bring it home. The next question is it on my list? If it's not on your list, this is so fun. I still do this all the time. If it's not on your list, you can put it on your list, right? Just like put it on your list and then come back and see how you feel about it later, right? Like come back next week, see how you feel about it. Nothing is an emergency. There's actually something we do called the cart trick, where say, especially on Amazon, because Amazon is just like 2 clicks. They make it so easy for you to just spend all your money on Amazon, right? Just click. Oh, it's coming tomorrow. It'll be here in 5 days. Not 5 days, be here in 5 hours, right? So on Amazon, put it in your cart, but leave it in your cart, right? It's not an emergency. Leave it in your cart, come back next week, see how you feel about it. Typically, I know for me, I like look at stuff I have in my cart and I'm like, why did I think that a white dress with tiny little yellow flowers was gonna look good on me? Like I'm 5'10". Like what am I thinking? This is crazy. This is not Little House on the Prairie, right? And that's what I do. I come back to stuff and I'm like, what on earth was I thinking when I put that in my cart? Had I just went click, click, it would be here in my house. And then I'd be like, okay, this looks hideous on me. It doesn't go with me. But I hesitate to return things. So I would just end up keeping it because returning it is a hassle and there's all these steps and I have to log in and blah, 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 blah. I have to find a package for it and a return sticker and right. So then we end up just keeping things. And that doesn't help because now we've spent money on something we're not going to wear and it's taking up space in our life. And guess what? Every time you go to your closet and you see it, you feel bad. You may not even register it on a conscious level, but your brain sees that and it makes you feel like, look at what you did again. You wasted money. You're bad with money, right? It just keeps reminding you subconsciously that you're not good with money. So this is a spending filter. And here's the thing. Your purchases don't have to be a yes to every single question on the spending filter. You can buy whatever you want. Right? You can buy whatever, even if every single answer is no. It doesn't match my style, doesn't match my decor, it doesn't solve a problem, doesn't replace an item, don't have a place for it at home, it's not on my list. You can still buy it. You can buy whatever you want. But the point of the questions is to slow you down so that you're spending mindfully. And what the questions do is it takes you out of the emotional adrenaline rush, dopamine high that you get when you're on a shopping spree, even if it's like a mini shopping spree. But there's this rush of like excitement when we're shopping. It takes you out of that rush of emotions and it puts you in your logical brain where it's like, oh, now I'm answering questions for myself. Does this match? Right? It takes you out of that like frenzy into a calm, like, let me answer these questions and figure out if this is really something I want to bring home. Because what'll happen is if you're in that frenzy and you bring a bunch of stuff home, then you get home and now you're calmed down and you're looking around like, what? Right? Like, why did I spend all this money? Buyer's remorse. That's what it is. All right. Now, the third way you change your spending is by changing the way you think. And we use this throughout the entire program. So your thoughts, right? We use this throughout the entire program because here is where you learn that you can't trust your brain. Okay. You actually have to supervise your thoughts. And after doing this for myself with my coaches, I had 3 different coaches over the course of about 18 months. And I worked this process on myself, and each of my coaches taught me a different part of this process. And I now call it the diva and the queen. I know this is like a busy slide, so I'm going to break it down for you. So the diva and the queen is this process that I came up with. And like I said, one of my coaches helped me see the queen. Another of my coaches helped me really identify the diva, and another coach helped me tap into my body and understand the information it was giving me. So the queen, and this is a lot to go through. I'm actually going to have some diva and queen coaching sessions for you guys to be able to join in on. So keep an eye on the email list because this is a whole, a whole section, a whole thing that you get to learn when you're in Debt Free Mastermind, and it helps you in other parts of your life. So the queen represents the part of your brain that's responsible for your ambition. This is the most developed part of the brain. This is the part that separates humans from animals. This is the part that's in charge of your ambition. This part of you is saying, I want to save money. Right? The queen is setting goals and has it's your higher self. It's the part that's a visionary of you. But then we have another part that I call the diva. The diva is a very primitive part of your brain. This is like the lower part of your brain that is trying to keep you alive. It's in the basal ganglia, and it represents your suspicion, right? It's always trying to counteract, it's trying to keep you alive, but it's the part of you that it's talking all day long. You always hear this chatter in the back of your head, and it's like, I want to buy everything, right? It'll be like playing both sides of the fence. And it's always a running chatter in your mind. The diva doesn't want to be restricted, right? The diva is telling you, I deserve this. I work hard for this. I want this and I want it now. I'm going to charge it on my card. I'm going to go on this vacation. I'll worry about how to pay for it later, right? Like that's the diva. That's the primitive part of your brain. And then there's your body. Your body is the seat of your intuition, right? She's quiet. She speaks very softly, right? And your body is saying, I just want to feel a certain way, right? Your body is just trying to elicit a feeling, and she speaks to you in emotions as well. So in the program, I teach you how to distinguish between these three voices. You will learn how to hear these three voices. Now you're in the middle. You're the watcher of your mind and your body. You're the one who gets to decide what you do with the information that your brain is giving you. No longer are you just swayed here and pulled there and ignoring your body, right? Like now you slow down and you understand who is saying, is it I want to spend money? I want to buy everything. I want to feel something. And then you're able to govern yourself accordingly. People ask me, how do you help spenders save so much money? I don't change you from being a spender. So how do I help you manage your money so easily without a budget? I don't make you do anything. It's because of this. It's because I help you slow down and hear your own thoughts and manage your own mind. Then you don't have to have some external rules. So what happens is once you start to understand yourself and you can hear and feel what's going on in your body, you can understand why you spend the way you do. And when you understand yourself, you can respect yourself and you can trust yourself and trust your decisions, right? So that is the diva and the queen. Super fun, super effective and easy. And I teach you that inside the Debt Free Mastermind. Now we look at have. Have is the ability to see a pile of money in your account and a list of things that you want to buy and not buy them. Listen, it's a skill. So if you can't do that now, there is nothing wrong with you, right? You just need to learn this skill. That's it. And so here's how I teach you. It's part of it. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, which means you're spending all of your money at the end of each month, you're paycheck to paycheck. This is easy to do if you don't have a goal or if you have debt. It's easy to just spend all the money that you make. And so what we do is we create a new zero. So your account can't go to true zero, right? It can't break through the floor. It can't go to true zero because we make your new zero a different number, right? Like we make it, $500, $1,000, $5,000. Doesn't even matter. The number doesn't even matter. It only matters that you pick a number and then we get to work. Okay. Because what happens is once you pick a number, that's when the diva starts giving you all kinds of objections about it. Right. That's when your mind just goes crazy because now you have a goal, you have a number. And so then that's where the magic happens, because whatever comes up, we get to coach on it and figure out why you can't let a pile of money sit in your account. What's stopping you from letting that happen? You'd be fascinated to see some of the things that come up, right? So as the reason why that's impossible. So then we do this other exercise that I actually, I have it in have, but I think I'm going to move it to save. I think the money hunt, I'm going to move that to save, because once we pick a number, we go on a money hunt. This exercise basically gets your mind on board with the plan. So this interesting thing happens with the diva and the queen. So the diva is always chattering in your mind and always kind of distracting you from your goal. And that's her whole purpose, is to get you to just like stop setting goals and trying to be great. Right. And what the way we deal with the diva part of it is that we give her a job. Right. So we're just like, look, brain, like stop chattering. I want you to go out and find the money. So we look at your last 1 month, your last 3 months, or even 6 months of tracking, and we reclaim the money. So here's the thing, we're not physically reclaiming the money, we're giving the diva a job. Like we have her going out to say, like, say your new zero is $500. We go back through the past month and say, okay, where could I have saved $500? We go through picking like an Easter egg hunt, right? Like, where is the money that could have made up this $500? And the spreadsheet, the budget diary spreadsheet that I created, it's beautiful for this. You get this, when you're in the mastermind, but it's beautiful for this because it helps you can pick out the expenses and it'll tally it up at the top, and you can see like, oh, okay, I actually do have the money, right? It's just an exercise to help you find and prove to yourself that you really do have the money, and it stops that chatter in your head that's telling you don't, that you can't, you have to spend it all because it's important. You have to get the kitchen remodeled and blah, 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 right? So we start with any old number. You can start with 500, you can start with 5,000. It doesn't even matter. We start with any old number. And then little by little, as we move forward, like I said, it's a cycle. We keep going. You allow more money to sit in your account and more money, because you're getting yourself acclimated to having money just sit there. You're just getting yourself acclimated. Okay. Now this goes hand in hand with the inflated 8. Because oftentimes we go on a money hunt and we find opportunities from the inflated 8, right? So we go on a money hunt and we find that we're paying way too much in electricity, or we go on a money hunt, we find that our insurance premiums are too high and we haven't called about an adjustment in 6 years, right? So those are the kinds of things, the projects that we pull out. And what happens is, like I said, if you're trying to do it by yourself, it just becomes like, it's too much, it's overwhelming. I have life, I have kids, I have everything. And when we do this together in the mastermind, it's like, oh no, this is a designated time to take care of this, right? And I help you and we stay accountable and we get it done. We reclaim that money. Now, mind you, I haven't said anything about you, stopping good things that you love. We're not even talking about that, and that's not even part of the program. So we just continue to cycle. Okay. So then overall, it looks like this. The money go round looks like this overall. So take a screenshot of this slide. Create is where you increase value to increase income. Save is when you go on a money hunt. You look at your inflated 8. We work on the savings snowball or the debt snowball. You start off with the debt snowball. We do the savings snowball once you're out of debt. Spend is where we do the home ec remix for groceries and clothing. Personal spending filter, we use that for everything that we're going to buy. The diva and the queen, it's mindset. It's money mindset and it's goal setting. And then for have, it comes down to the new zero and getting comfortable and acclimated with having money sit in the account. Okay. So because now you can see this approach, like on this slide, this is my approach to paying off debt as a spender and managing money as a spender. This is totally different, right? From the slash and burn, cut up your credit cards, cancel everything you love, eat beans and rice, drive a hoopty, right? That kind of advice for paying off debt it's like a Band-Aid over the wound. Like this is like, let me learn how to manage money so I can learn how to manage debt versus let me just get out of debt without really making any deep changes to how I think about money and how I think about possessions. Right? Because with this approach, you're actually learning the skills of managing money and you're learning at a pace that's your own pace in a way that makes sense for your lifestyle and your goals and your needs, right? It's not one size fit all. It's individualized and it's personal. Now, this process is simple, but it's not easy. As I've said before, like I just gave you all the information that you need to get started. And you can be like, oh, this is great. I know exactly what to do. I just have to start tracking. Right? And if you have the budget diary workbook, used to have it here behind me, but if you have the budget diary workbook, you could think like, I have the workbook, have the step-by-step process, I'm good to go. Right? But what I see happening time and time again is that women will come to me and say, I had the workbook, I had your step-by-step process, and I just didn't sit down to do it. Right? And that's totally normal. We can know exactly what to do and never do it, even when we want the results so badly. And what keeps us from sitting down to do it are the thoughts we have about sitting down to do it. And the thoughts we have about what we could be doing or should be doing instead with that time, right? Because there's no immediate consequence to skipping it. And there's no immediate reward for doing it. And we also have secretly negative thoughts about who we will become or who we could possibly become if we actually changed our life, right? Like we don't want to become that person. And there are a lot of thoughts and a lot of obstacles, right? But it's not a problem. It's not a problem. You just need different thoughts. You just need to know how to solve for the obstacles. And that is where coaching comes in. So I have a simple process and I give you all the tools and I help you stay accountable. And if you get stuck, I show you what's holding you back. And whatever the issue is, we clear it up in a non-judgmental way so you can keep moving forward. Because contrary to society's teaching or society's judgment, debt is not a problem to be solved. Right? When you have debt, let me tell you this, look, when you have debt, it means that someone trusted you enough to give you money knowing that you would pay it back later. That's it. That's what debt is. Somebody trusted you. Like, hey, you seem pretty cool. I'm going to give you the money. You can buy the thing you want. And you can pay me back later. Right? That's an honor. And so what I do is I help you make good on that promise. I help you be the person that this bank or this credit card company or this whatever, whoever loaned you the money, I help you be the person that they think you are, the person who's going to pay them back. No big deal, right? I help you make good on that promise. I help you manage all of your money so that your debt gets paid back really fast. And because the money management system that you had when you borrowed the money won't be the same as the system you have that'll help you pay it back fast, right? Like something's got to change. The actions that you took that had you like needing the money can't be the same actions that you take that'll help you get out of debt super fast, right? Because you can't do the same thing and get a different result. And the result you'll get when you use the system I created just for spenders is that you'll not only pay off debt fast, but you'll understand exactly where your money is going every month, right? Which will help you feel in control. It'll help you feel calm and confident. And then you sleep better at night. And when you sleep better at night, you're able to make better decisions at home and at work, right? And those better decisions lead to promotions and raises that you didn't have to ask for. And your relationships improve, right? Suddenly you're able to talk about money without having a panic attack, right? You're able to talk about money with your spouse without it turning into a fight, right? Your emotions are out of the conversation. You know the facts and you can discuss the facts. You're not getting upset because you're not thinking that you're bad with money, right? You're just not thinking that anymore. And when you're not thinking that you're bad with money, you're able to really hear what the other person is saying. You're not on the defense, right? You're not even on the offense, right? Suddenly we're all just on the same team. And that's all we want, right? Money is such a huge part of our lives. It's involved in everything that we do. And feeling confident with money, like you feel confident with every other area of your life, makes a huge difference in how you carry yourself and how you connect with the people around you. She's so cute. This is not my baby, but she reminds me of my baby when she was little. Being a spender is not your downfall. It is your superpower. Okay. But like any superpower, you have to know how to wield it, right? You can't just be like, I don't even know. I'm not a Marvel follower or whatever. Like, I don't know all the superpowers, but like whoever it is who like shoots the ice out of their hand, like before that person knew how to like direct the ice. I guess Elsa does that too, right? But like before Elsa knew how to like direct the ice like out of her hand, she was like hitting people with it and shot her sister in the heart and everything else. And it's like, if you have the superpower, which is spending, you need to know how to get like the most effective use out of that superpower, because spending is really a way. Spenders are givers, and you can give a lot bigger and a lot better when you really have control of your superpower. And that's what I help you get really good at. So, all right, that is the training, how to pay off debt as a spender without budgeting. So here's what I want to offer for you. I want to offer for you to join a debt-free mastermind so I can work with you more than just in a 1-hour training. Okay. I want to help you remove all the obstacles to sitting down, tracking your finances, and paying off debt fast. Okay. And here's what I teach inside a debt-free mastermind. So the first thing we do, we look at where you are and we look at where you want to be. We look at your income, your debt, and your savings. We create a debt payoff plan using the debt snowball, right? I'll teach you how to do it. It's very easy. And that debt snowball becomes the goal that we'll be working on together. Okay. And once your goal is set, I teach you how to use the budget diary spreadsheet that I created for weekly tracking. And listen, it only takes an hour a week. That's it, an hour a week, and you get peace of mind. And as you're tracking week by week, we're going through the different processes that I showed you before, and it's just speeding up your debt payoff. The new zero, the money hunt, the home ec remix, inflated, all of that. That's what we're doing. And it's just speeding up your debt payoff, right? So this is a 12-week program, and it walks you through this process while you're getting coached and you're paying off debt. Okay. It's intense. I love saying that. It's intense. It's fun, right? But it's simple. It's not easy because you have a human brain. That's the only reason why it's not easy. And that's why you get weekly live coaching, right? You'll be in a super small group of just 5 people. And the reason I picked 5 people is that it gives everybody minutes, to be coached one-on-one, right? It's not like you're in this group where there's 30 people and you can go weeks and weeks and weeks without ever having to talk about what's going on in your mind, right? I know introverts like to hide in groups, big groups of people, but I made this small enough to where you feel comfortable with the group that you're in, and you also get personalized attention, which is important. We meet on Zoom, we get in, we get it done, we get out. It's not like you have to drive somewhere or something like that. Like we meet on Zoom. It's a one-time payment of $1,800 and it's guaranteed. If you follow the program and you don't pay off at least the amount you paid to join, I'll give you your money back. It's guaranteed. Also, because I know that tracking is a new habit, it's a new habit, it's a new skill to learn. I created the budget diary spreadsheet that does all the work for you. Okay. It makes your tracking easy. All you have to do is enter the information, and I'll show you how to do that. And it does all the calculations for you. It gives you a summary about what your money is doing every month. This is how you know where your money is going every month. This is how you creates the budget for you, because then you can just look back over the past few months and be like, oh, it even has percentages like, oh, housing is this percentage of our total income, right? Groceries is this percentage of our total income. We spent this much in January and that much in February. And look where we're right on track in March, right? Or we can set some goals and get it under a certain amount. Like there's so many things you can do once you know exactly what your numbers are. So that's what the spreadsheet is for. And because I know that you're new at tracking, perhaps, or maybe you've been doing it on pen and paper, whatever it is, when you join the Debt-Free Mastermind today, you get the spreadsheet and I teach you how to use it. Okay. If you've been tracking on pen and paper, you probably highlight it with colors to categorize things like, oh, this is gas, this is entertainment, these are utilities, right? This spreadsheet categorizes everything for you. Also, I know that finding time is one of the biggest issues that keeps you from tracking. I know you intend to do it, you want to do it, but life gets busy and you don't do it. Or you have all the tools and you have all the time, but something more important is happening. Like the kids need something, or the carpet needs to be vacuumed. Or if you're like me, when I used to want to just track for an hour, my brain would serve me all kinds of things that were more important in that moment. Like all the spoons need to be lined up in the drawer. It was like the most insane thing. It was so funny. Or like all the books need to be arranged on the bookshelf in, rainbow order. It's crazy, right? Like we do anything to keep from getting started. So to make it easier to sit down and do the tracking, I created a meeting. I made it like, this is a meeting. Right? Where we all just get together and we work on the tracking. Co-working with the Money Squad. It's on Zoom. Everybody is muted. Nobody talks unless they have a question, which is also really awesome, because if you're tracking and you have a question, you have me right there. You unmute, you ask your question. I help you right then and there. Right? So we just get it done. Like we're all on Zoom. It's a meeting. Get your tracking done. You're done for the whole week. It's amazing. When you join today, you'll be in this weekly co-working. It's awesome. It's magical. Okay. Also, because I know that your situation is slightly different from the other 4 people who'll be in your super small group, I'm giving you a personal, private 30-minute session to look at your current situation and set up your goals. Okay, that's right. You will have a one-on-one call with me to decide, and not decide, but discuss your specific goals before we even start. Okay, you'll get my eyes and my brain on your goals in a private call before we even start. Okay, but you have to join the Debt-Free Mastermind right now in order to get this bonus. So let's recap. When you join the Debt-Free Mastermind today, you get a 12-week program that takes you from paycheck to paying off your debt quickly. Okay. You get a weekly live coaching. You'll be in a super small group of just 5 people at the most, sometimes less. You get it's a one-time payment. I say you get You don't get the payment. You pay the payment. One-time payment of $1,800. And if you follow the program and you don't pay off at least the amount that you paid to join, I'll give you your money back. It's guaranteed, right? Also, as a bonus, you get the budget diary spreadsheet, and I teach you how to use it. You also get weekly co-working with the Money Squad. And if you join today, you'll get a private one-to-one goal setting call with me. So if you want to sign up, here's the link to join. It's www.1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. DFM stands for Debt Free Mastermind. Join-DFM. If you want to click straight into it, instead of writing this all out, it's in your email. I sent you an email right as we were getting started with the link to join right there in it. Also, there's this really super cool, I feel so smart, y'all. There's like super cute QR code right here on the slide. If you point your phone at it, which, how are you going to do that if you're on the Zoom? I don't know. Maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was, but there is this, take a picture of this. I don't know if that works, but here's a QR code that will take you exactly to this website that'll let you sign up straight from there. I want to make it easy for you to get the help that you need. I'm opening up a mastermind for March. So I only have 3 spots left for the mastermind that I'm feeling right now. So if you want to start managing your money now, if you want to get out of debt now is the time to join. So I'll tell you what happens when you use this link. The link is here. There's also in your email. There's also a QR code. Going to make it easy for you. When you click on the link, it'll take you to a checkout page. Okay. The price of the mastermind is $1,800. You'll enter your payment information. It's pay in full only. Once you pay, you'll see the link at the bottom of the confirmation page, right? You use that link. If you join the mastermind today, there's a link that'll take you to booking your private session immediately, right? You book your private session, we hop on a call, we talk. Okay. In your private session, we'll talk about your income, your savings, and your debt. You do not need to bring any financial information. You don't need to have your numbers together. You don't need anything. You just need to bring yourself and a pen and paper if you want to. But we talk about basically how you feel about your income, your savings, and your debt, and we create a plan. We also talk about the impact of doing this work right now, because there's a reason why if you join now, there's a reason typically that you want to do this work right now. There's a reason it's important to you. And we need to know what that reason is, because when it going gets tough, like, right, when we hit that first red light, I'm going to need to know, like, hey, this is why we're going to keep going, because remember how you really wanted this, right? So we always keep those reasons top of mind. We'll set your goal. After the session, you'll get information about your meeting date and your meeting time. Meetings are Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on which group you're in. The group I'm feeling right now is on Mondays. Your mastermind will meet at the same time each week. So it's something you can kind of build in your schedule and be like, okay, for the next 3 months, because it's 12 weeks, right? For the next 3 months, I need this hour blocked off every week to meet with my mastermind. Change your life. This will revolutionize the way you deal with money, the way you think about money. And I'm not going to labor that point too much, because I'm going to take you through the Q&A and I'm going to show you some testimonials about people who have gone through this, and they know, they can tell you better than I can tell you. So here is the link, the QR code. I'm about to click the button. So if you need to take a screenshot, I'll take a sip of tea. All right. So let's see. This is a testimonial from the group that started in February. Okay, so this is March the 10th. So the February group started February 13th or something like that. They started almost mid-February. So it hasn't even been a month yet. Okay, it has not been a full month yet. I got this text message that she says, guess what? My husband just paid $6,000 of consumer debt, and we are snowballing the last card with $2,000 in the emergency fund. Super exciting. So when she started in the group, she had an emergency fund, but they had been dipping into it because they were like paycheck to paycheck. So they were like dipping and dipping and dipping into the emergency fund, and they were like worried they're going to keep dipping till it was gone. And then just from starting to do the work in the club, she's able to add $2,000 to the emergency fund, pay off $6,000 worth of debt, and now they only have one credit card to go. One credit card. Like, I just want you to imagine, like, I don't know what your situation is, but I just want you to imagine that that's you, and you had a debt snowball full of debt, and all of a sudden, in less than a month, you're down to one credit card and your savings is, filled up again. Right? I want you to realize, like, it's not that you don't have money. Right? We have money. Money is circulating. You have money. It's the way you're thinking about money and the way that you're managing money that makes the results like this seem impossible. Right? Because people have money. You have money. It's not that you don't have money. It's just what's happening with it that's making this feel like impossible. These results are typical. Okay. So it's not impossible. It happens for you too. So here's a question. So I told you I got questions in the DMs, questions in the email. I've met one-on-one with people and gotten questions. What I basically did today, actually, and over the last month, I've taken all those questions. I just built them into the slides so that we could just like keep going with questions. And like I said, if there's a question here, if there's a question you have that's not here, just put it in a Q&A box and I'll build it in and I'll email you. So why don't budgets work for spenders? Right? Because we're told to budget, right? Like if you're having any kind of crisis with your finances, you're like, oh, I better budget. Oh, I need to pay this down. Oh, I had this thing happen to me. I better make myself a budget. And they just don't work for spenders. Why don't budgets work for spenders? This is why. A budget for a spender is like a diet. Okay? It doesn't address the true issue. Right? So without a lot of willpower, it doesn't work for long term. It's basically like a list of rules where you're saying, okay, we're going to spend this much on that and this much on that, but it doesn't take into account the thing that happens, the most for spenders is spontaneity, freedom, you only live once, that kind of thing. So the true issue that budgets don't address is how you're thinking about money, how you feel about money, how you think about your, what you're spending on, how you think about your income, how you think about yourself, right? Budgets don't address that at all. Right. So my process helps you change the way you think about money. So it doesn't, the changes are not only long-term changes, but they're also effortless because you're not like making yourself do something against your will. You're actually like, you get it. You're like, oh, I see how I'm thinking about that. And you're thinking something differently. So you just do something differently. You don't even think about it. Most of the time when you think about it, it's like when you remember how you used to think and you're like, wow, I can't believe, I bought that. I really didn't, I would not buy that again today because the way I think about money and the way I think about, my life and myself is totally different, right? You don't even recognize it. So, going back to the program I showed you too, when you're doing the debt-free mastermind, you're also having fun the entire time. So with a budget, it's not fun, right? It's not fun. It's like rules. But with the debt-free mastermind, you're having fun the whole time. You're making the changes. So they're easy to stick to because they were like fun to implement. And then you're having mindset shifts the whole time. Okay. So just to recap, here's the lovely QR code. And just to recap, when you join the Debt-Free Mastermind today, you get a 12-week program, weekly live coaching in a super small group of just 5 people or less. It's a one-time payment of $1,800. There's a money-back guarantee, right? If you do everything in the mastermind and you don't pay off at least $1,800 worth of debt, or you don't break that paycheck to paycheck cycle, you get your money back. As a bonus, you get the budget diary spreadsheet. It's a one-of-a-kind spreadsheet. Nobody else in the world has anything like this. You get co-working with the money squad once a week for an hour. Work on your money with other people who are working on their money. It's magic. You get a private goal setting call with me before we even get started. Here's a link to join: www.1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. And there's the QR code if you need it. Here is another testimonial. So this client says, Fran, I got my review from work, and not only did I get a raise, but I got a $10,000. I got $10,000 as a bonus. It's the largest one-time bonus I've ever gotten. Y'all, this was also someone from the February group. This was also someone from the February group. Like, when I tell you, like, you shift overnight, people notice, right? And here's the thing. Let's just say, let's play devil's advocate. Let's just say that her boss didn't just like notice during the mastermind that she was amazing and was going to give her a bonus. Let's just say, and a raise, right? Let's just say that this was in the works since January, right? Let's say it was a month ago, 2 months ago, that they had already decided she was going to get a raise and a bonus. They were just waiting for the paperwork to come through the pipeline. And now she just happened to be coincidentally in the debt-free mastermind, raising her value, and they come and give her a bonus. Here's the difference. If she had not been focusing on her money with a goal and a plan, she would have taken this money and gone on a ski trip, taken this money and gone on a shopping spree, taken this money and bought pizza for everybody in the bar or whatever. I don't know, but the point is, like, she would have blown this money, because as spenders, that's what we do. When we don't have a plan, it's like happy days are here again. I got all this money. What are we going to do? Especially if we don't have the capacity to have, like I was talking about, we make more money and we spend more money because we don't have a plan. So the beautiful thing about this is that she was in the debt-free mastermind when she got this raise and got this bonus. And she was awarded it in February and actually got it in March. And so we had time to coach. I was able to coach her 2 times about what she's going to do with the money, because believe it or not, when you get a pile of money, it's not easy to pay off your debt, right? It's easier to use the money. You're like, well, now I have money, I can remodel the kitchen, right? Instead of being like, I want to pay off my debt. I want to pay off my debt. And then a large sum of money drops in your lap and you're like, well, right? So that's the beauty of having a coach and being in a program where, like, you get the sum of money, you actually follow through with applying it to the goal that you have. Now, what I always do for large sums of money is I tell you to take 10% of it and go have some fun, right? Because we're all about having fun. And I don't want you to ever feel like, what am I doing this for? If I have to, I get all this money, I have to put it to the debt. I don't even get to enjoy any of it. So we always take 10% and do something fun. And so she actually did go on a ski trip, but instead of spending all the money and having a great time and, a whole week or whatever, it was like she used the money that she had from the 10% and then like decided what was important to do on the trip and the clothes to buy and the equipment to rent and all the things. She had a blast, had an amazing time, right? And still paid off debt. And I think she put $1,000 in her emergency fund, and she paid off 2.5 credit cards. So now she's like already on her 3rd credit card within a month, y'all. Like, this is what I want you to see, how life-changing this is. Within 1 month, say you have 5 credit cards, you pay off 2.5, you're halfway down from getting your debt cleared off. Maybe not in money, but in the actual number of debts that you have, which makes a huge difference in who you see yourself to be and what you feel capable of. Goes a long way towards self-trust, which is what we're doing. All right. So here's a question. What is the benefit of co-working? Right? The question I actually got was, is it really necessary? Right? Is it really necessary to do co-working? Why are we doing this? Why am I? Because basically what happens is you have an hour of mastermind coaching a week, and then you have an hour of co-working. Right? And so it's like, so now I have 2 hours of doing my money, right? And I love this question because, to be honest, I always forget to research why co-working is so effective, but it is super effective. Co-working so what we're trying to do in the mastermind is help you to create the habit of tracking, right? I want you to be able to track and have it be effortless. And so when you're doing it with a group of other people who are also tracking, it helps you to focus in, and it helps you to like keep on task in a way where doing it by yourself won't. If you're doing it by yourself, you get distracted, something happens, I'll do it later, then you never do it, right? But when it's a meeting and you're there and other people are doing it, it's like magic. It's so amazing. So, one of my clients calls it the lab. It's the lab. So you have the lecture and you have the lab. That's not a lecture. So, yeah, the rest of your hours. So right now, like if you're thinking like I have 2 hours a week, so now I have the mindset meeting and then I have the co-working, it's 2 hours a week. But the rest of your hours of the week, you're not worrying about money, you're not wondering about money, you're not fretting or anything like that. Now you're like calm and peaceful and you're sleeping at night. So it's 2 hours that like eliminate a bunch of other hours of stress, which is magic. And here's the money squad. Here's some of us. Few of us. So just to recap, here is the link to join. There's a QR code. And like I said, in your email, you can click right in from your email. It's a 12-week program. What's important to know about that, the idea of program. Sometimes you can have a coaching program, which means you just show up and I say, or the coach says, what do you want to do today? What do you want to talk about? Right. And you just get coached, and there's no like curriculum. So with this program, there's actually a curriculum. There's actually a week by week. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to, work on. There's homework, right? So like on a Monday when we have, we go through what we're working on, and it's like, okay, this part is homework. And guess what? You don't have to figure out when you're going to do the homework. You're going to do the homework in the session where you have the hour of co-working. Everything that has to do with money happens in these 2 hours, right? So you take that to the hour session that you have, and then you do the work in there, right? And so what happens is you have an actual step-by-step process. You're not out here trying to figure it out on your own. Like I have a process, I have a book. So I'm going to show you this. When you join, you get this, gets mailed to you. Guess I'm too small for you to see it. I'll put in the slides next time, but the Home Ec Remix is an actual little booklet that walks you through the Home Ec Remix program. There's another part of the Home Ec Remix. It has to do with clothes, right? I'm a planner girl. I love planners. I love journaling. Like this kind of stuff is just right up my alley. So there's lots of support that you get with materials. It's a program, okay? It's like there is a process, right? So when you join, you can rest assured that we are efficient because it's already laid out. This is what to do. Now, where it comes in to be personalized is that we're talking about your situation specifically. How can we apply this to your situation and give you what you need in this moment? Because remember, it's a cycle. So when we come around to this again, you can pick up what you didn't pick up the first time. So the first time you might be completely like, I'm in survival mode. I've been in survival mode for 5 years with my money. Okay, well, let's just get your nervous system calmed down, right? We work on the diva, the queen, and the body. Let's get your nervous system calmed down. Okay, now when we come around to this again, now you're like able to really see what we were talking about. And then the next time you're like, oh, I can do this now, right? It just gets easier and easier. It just gets better and better. www.1millionspenders.com/join-DFM, or you can use a QR code, or you can use the link is in your email. It's just a button you can push. When you use the link to join right now, it'll take you to a checkout page. The price for the debt-free mastermind is $1,800. It's pay in full. You enter your payment information. Once you pay, you'll see a link at the bottom of the confirmation page, and you use that link to book your session. And in your private session, we talk about your income, your savings, and your debt. We also talk about the impact of the work that you're doing and the reason why you're going to keep going no matter how many red lights you hit. And after the session, I'll send you an email with the information about your meeting date, your meeting time, and the mastermind will meet the same time each week. Okay, so let's look at another testimonial. So fun. So here is a testimonial, or like, it's not really like an update that I got in my Instagram DMs one day after we had a session. So I'll read what she said and I'll give you context about what this means. So here are some fun things that have come up that I like to share. Number one, I had not revisited my home infrastructure since the pandemic. I changed my home to account for the profound changes we incurred during quarantine, but I never updated for our current life. I had bags upon bags of expired food. Number two, I discussed managing our food finances together, like with the kids, and the kids are pumped up. Today, we only have food that we would currently eat. I'm sad I did not take a picture before. I realized the cabinet I used for our pantry didn't work, so I moved it. I no longer have a crazy amount of food, so it will be easier to identify our actual needs. Food has been an issue, okay? All caps issue. And I have yet to have a lot of positive progress. Even if this is all I get from it, it has been magical. Right? So just as context, so we were talking about, and then, like I said, if you saw my Fox 26 interview and like what I was telling you about the food, one thing that I have you do, and that's part of the home ec remix, is to take inventory of what's in your pantry and what's in your freezer. Because a lot of times we're spending money, we're bringing food home, and we have lots of meals. We have lots of meals already in our home, but it's like a habit where we just go out and we bring more stuff in, we're spending more money. And it's actually stressful. It's overwhelming. And so we stand in front of a pantry that's overstuffed and we're like, there's nothing here to eat. Let's go out. Let's go to Chick-fil-A. Let's go to a restaurant. Let's order pizza. Right. And it's not because there's nothing there to eat. It's because our brain is taking in all of this visual information and it's overwhelming. Right. So what happens is we have these conversations, you get coached, and then it's like you can't help it. I remember being in this phase where all of my stuff was out on the counter, just exactly like this in 2018. I took everything out of my pantry and everything out of all of my cabinets, and it felt like this. I felt compelled to do it. Like I couldn't help it. I was like, I have got to clean this out. Right. Because I had gotten coached and I realized that like, this is not serving me. I need a different system. So you end up redoing your whole kitchen situation and making it a functional kitchen. After you get coached on it, it helps you to like, boom, the actions just naturally flow. Right. So that's what she did. She put all this stuff out. She went through, got rid of all the pandemic food, got rid of all the expired stuff. And now there's only in the kitchen what she actually uses. I wish I had the after picture. She sent me an after picture and I meant to put it in and I did not see, I didn't do it. Oh, next time I'll send in the email. Because I want you to see what the result of this is so powerful. We literally spoke for an hour on a coaching call, a group coaching call, and then 2 days later, this entire transformation happened at her house, right? This is really important, y'all, because sometimes we're tolerating things we don't even realize that are not serving us. And not once have we talked about cutting up credit cards and canceling cable, right? These transformations happen without you taking drastic measures. Okay. Love it. I love it. Okay. Question. How can I pay off all my debt in 3 months? Right. And the original question for this was like, this is a 3-month program and you're promising that I'll pay off my debt. Okay. So no, right? Like, I'm not promising that you'll pay off all your debt in 3 months. I am making this program accessible so that you can get in here and get some momentum going. Right. So the debt-free mastermind is meant to be taken over and over again as many times as you want to. Right. So typically I would work with clients for a year, and the cost of that was significant. It was basically the cost of debt-free mastermind times 4. And so what I did was I broke it down into just a 3-month mastermind so you can get in. That way you're not like buying this expensive program that you're not sure is going to work. You're getting in, you're getting 3 months and you're like, oh my gosh, this is changing everything. And at the end of that 3 months, let's do it again. Let's roll it again, right? We're going to run that playback. Or you can say, I think I got what I needed. I'm going to do this on my own. Right. But if you love the co-working and you love the mindset, meetings and talking with the other people in the group and growing and hearing what their questions are and getting your questions answered and getting coached, right? Then you just do it again and you do it again and do it again. And here's the thing, as you're doing it, you're paying off debt, and it's the momentum is building. So each time you do it, you've paid off more debt. So you can join again. And then you pay off more debt and you can join. It just compounds. It's incredible. Right. So the promise is that you won't pay off all your debt in 3 months. The promise is that you will learn how to manage money and pay off at least $1,800 in debt in 3 months. And that's a guarantee. Okay. So here we are again. Just to recap, the Debt-Free Mastermind is a 12-week program. That's the 3 months. You get weekly live coaching. I am your coach. I am there on Zoom with you and, up to 4 other people, right? You get personal attention. There's a money back guarantee. Like I just said, you pay one time, $1,800. It's not like a membership. You're not paying indefinitely. You're paying $1,800. If the service is working for you, you can re-up, right? You're not locked in to something that isn't working for you. If it's working for you, if you're a spender, it's going to work for you and you're not locked in. You can decide to keep going, right? It's making it so that the bar of entry and your level of comfort to start is doable. Okay. As a bonus, you get the budget diary spreadsheet, which does all the calculations for you. Get co-working with the money squad for an hour a week. You get a private goal setting call with me where we talk about your goals and the impact of doing this work. Okay. www.1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. It's also in your email with the link that you can just click. Here is a testimonial. After the very first meeting of the Debt-Free Mastermind, my anxiety level was dramatically lowered. I was worried that I would be one of the only people living paycheck to paycheck and without $1,000 in my emergency fund, but that wasn't the case. Seeing that I'm in the same boat as other people in a small group made me feel like I can do this. I'm not alone. I love that. I love that because there's so much power in working in a group, right? A lot of times, okay, I used to talk to spenders one by one, and I would tell them, like, they would hear my story and they'd be like, oh, okay, you get it, right? But I would tell them, like, there's other people who get it too. And people would be like, no, It's just like, no, we are not the only two people on earth, who have these similar issues, have problems with having and problems dealing with the mail and all these things. I'm like, there are other spenders who have these same issues, right? So being in a small group where you see that other people are having the same issue you are, it makes such a huge difference for relaxing into this idea that you are not behind. You're not the only one in the world who hasn't figured this out, right? And then you all learn together. So it's really amazing. There's no judgment. It's all supportive. So here's a question. Is the spreadsheet I get just for the 3 months? So I love this question. The answer is no. So the spreadsheet you get is for the debt-free mastermind, but it is a full 12-month spreadsheet. So it goes all the way from January to December. It's a full spreadsheet. You have, and let me show you the picture. So you have, oh, look, that's the 2022 one. The 2023 one is different. I upgrade it every year. So you have, your full trackers, you have your summary pages, you have your debt snowball, you have a place to put in savings, you have your inflated 8-page. So it's like, you get the full spreadsheet. I've just taken out some distractions from the original sheet so that when you're paying off debt, you just have to worry about the things that you need for paying off debt. You don't have like all these other sheets for like goal setting and things like that. But apart from that, it's not a 3-month sheet, it's a full sheet. So if you come into Debt-Free Mastermind for 3 months and after 3 months, you're like, this is amazing. I think I figured out what I need. I don't need to come back and do it again. Or maybe you do 2 rounds and you're like, oh, I've done this for 6 months. I feel good about it. My momentum is going. I've paid off my debt. You can still continue to use the spreadsheet. So it's going to be there for you. Like once you get it, it's yours and you can continue to use it all year. So just to recap, when you join Debt Free Mastermind today, you get a 3-month program, weekly live coaching in a super small group of just 5 people. It's a one-time payment of $1,800 with the money back guarantee. We'll talk about that in a minute. You get the budget diary spreadsheet that I just showed you. You get co-working with the money squad once a week for an hour. You get a private goal setting call with me. And we set your goals. We talk about them. Here is the QR code. You can scan that and join. Or you can go to www.1millionspenders.com/join DFM. Or you can go to your email. If you're on my email list, click the link. There's a button in the email. If you're not on my email list, just text Fran to 44144. You can get on the list. You can find out when all the events are. Next, testimonial. So she says, here's a small win. I notice that I feel less emotional charge when I talk about money. Talking about money is starting to feel normal. I think that's a big win. And her big win is I successfully claimed an old invoice from February of 2021 during our money date yesterday. I almost wrote it off because it had been way too long. I'm glad I did it. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing, right? So a lot of magic happens during our money dates. So that co-working session that we do, we call it the money date. And a lot of times people will be texting me during the money date or right after it and tell me like what happened in the money date. So claiming an old invoice from a year ago, actually over a year ago, from when I got this text message, and getting the money back from that, right? Like that's amazing. And just not to downplay having less emotional charge when you talk about money. This is what I was talking about. Like if you're talking to your spouse and you're like all tense when you guys talk about money, like this is amazing to just be able to feel calm and just feel like, oh, this is normal. We just talk about money. It's not a big deal. Right? Some people have never had an experience in their life. And like that's the best feeling in the world to just be discussing money and not be freaking out inside your head. All right. Okay. What if I don't have financial goals? This is a question I got. What if I don't have financial goals? So a lot of times you won't have financial goals if you have kind of like lost trust in yourself because of money. And this is why I feel like the way we're taught to manage money is so dangerous, is that you start off just like when you're at work and you have goals, or when you're in school and you have goals. You start off, you have a goal, and then you try to reach it, and then things just do not go as planned, and you lose a little trust in yourself because you think like something must be wrong with me. I can't hit this goal. I keep trying, and so you just kind of like stop setting goals, and you're like, well, I'm not going to have any goals anymore because I never hit them. Right? Some people even get triggered by the word goal. I don't even want to hear the word goal because that just makes me feel like a failure, especially when it comes to money. Right? And so we coach on that because we get to the heart of what's causing that feeling that, you don't want to set a goal. And I'm going to show you this, because your goal when you first start out, even if you come in and you're like, I don't want to set any goals. If you have debt, paying off the debt is your goal. That's where we start. So here's point A and point B, right? This was a cliff before I added this little bridge here, right? So point A is your current income, your current savings amount, if you have savings, and the total amount of debt that you have. Point B, when we have our conversation, if you join today, we'll have, a one-to-one private conversation. We look at all these things, where your point A is, and we look at what point B is. You don't have to set a financial goal. Your goal will be paying off all your debt. That's your goal. Okay. It's like whatever your debt is, taking all that away, that's your goal. And then if you have a goal for your savings, sometimes when you first start out, you can't even imagine having a goal for savings because you've been in debt so long. You just imagine that like it's always going to be this way. So this is another reason why you would do another round of Debt Free Mastermind, because the first round, you're all focused on getting out of debt. And then when you see yourself getting out of debt so fast, you're like, I'm going to do another round because now I want to focus on saving money. Now I want to focus on getting into the mindset and creating the identity of someone who has savings, right? Let's get coached on that, right? And calm confidence. I'm all about calm confidence with money. That's going to be your goal. It's for you to be calm when somebody's talking about money, and for you to feel confident if people are talking about money around you, that you know what you're talking about. So someone was asking me about, do we do financial education in the mastermind? Yes, we do, but it's not a lecture. You don't have to sit there and have me define terms for you or put it's not like a class. What we do is we learn it as we need it. So you become educated on things that are relevant to what you're doing at the time. So you end up with this confidence of like, oh, I know exactly what this means. I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Right. And when you get that calm confidence, then you have self-trust. You start to rebuild your self-trust, especially when you have a system that's created for you and the way that you think. You have this self-trust when you go to manage your money, because the system is not automatically making you feel like a failure from the get-go. And so the bridge between point A and point B is the Debt-Free Mastermind. It's the process and it's the coaching. And here we are again. So here is how you join. Do it today. Don't put it off. Don't try, don't say you're going to think about it later, right? Do it today so that you don't forget and you get started right away. There's a QR code. The website is 1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. There's a link in your email where you can just click the link. If you're not on the email list, just text Fran to 44144, or you can go to 1millionspenders.com and get on the email list. Or if you're on Instagram, you can go to my link in bio, get on the email list. No excuses. This should be the last year that you ever worry about money. This should be like the very last year you ever feel stressed about money, because there's a resource here. I'm opening up the doors to what's been working for the people inside of my private coaching community for 5 years. Oh, this is so fun. Okay, so here is this is so funny. Here's a testimonial somebody sent me, like legit just got a check in the mail. Right? Okay, so if you don't know what this means, I think I talked about this like at the beginning of the webinar, is that magical things happen. Remember when I said money loves a playful spirit, money loves to play, it comes out of the woodwork when you play with it. I was telling people in the group, I was like, approach money with a playful spirit, you will start getting random checks in the mail. Random. Where it's like, you were part of a class action lawsuit when you had like a 2015 Honda Accord, blah, 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 whatever it is. And it's like, you don't even remember that. You're like, what? Did I have that car? And then they're like, here's $237. It's like, what? Okay. And you throw that at your debt. Right. And so this is why calculating your debt, like doing the math of it, like when I told you that I looked and I said it was going to take 5 years, this is why that kind of math doesn't match up, because there's man's earthly math and then there's God's math, right? And God's math is always going to win, because what'll happen is we do the math and think it's going to take this much time, but then as soon as God starts, coming into the mix and things just start to happen that we can't explain and we're not orchestrating. Right. So checks in the mail. Me and my kids have a song about it. It happens so frequently that we have a song for it. All right. Question. What do I have to do to get my money back? Okay. So 2 parts of this question. I'm going to tell you about the money back guarantee. And then I'm also going to tell you that I don't want you to use the money back guarantee. Seriously. Okay. So the requirements for the money back guarantee is that you attend the weekly live coaching sessions. So when we're coaching live, as much as you possibly can, there's 12 sessions. I want you to come to all of them if you can. If you can only come to 10, that's fine. But think about this. If you miss like 4 of them, you basically missed a third of the mastermind, right? So how are you going to expect to get results if you're not really coming there and getting the live coaching? So that's why that's a requirement. The other requirement is to track your transactions. You don't have to budget. The only reason why you don't have to budget is because we track our transactions. So if you're not tracking your transactions, you're not going to be able to participate fully in the coaching and what we're doing, the activities that will get you closer to paying off all your debt. So you have to track your transactions. Come to co-working. If you want to get your money back at the end of the program, if it doesn't work for you, it means that you have come to co-working and actually tracked your transactions for an hour a week, right? And actually did the program. Because remember I said when I give homework, the homework is to be done in that hour of co-working. Now, if you say your schedule conflicts with the coaching and the co-working, then we have a conversation and we find a way to make it work for you, right? This is not so rigid where I'm like, well, if you have a full-time job, you're out of luck, right? No, it's not that. I want to help you win. I want to help you succeed, right? I want you to be out of debt. I want you to feel good about how you manage your money. So if there's something else that we have to do and we have to figure out, let's do it. Don't count yourself out just from the very beginning and just decide, well, I have a job, I can't do this, I may as well suffer for the next 7 years. No, send me a DM. Let's talk about it. Okay. And the other thing is just to be coachable. So I never waste your time. I never tell you to do something. Like if I tell you to journal on something, or if I tell you to do the home ec remix process, it's not going to be something to waste your time. There's always going to be a reason for it. Okay. I'm very process oriented. Everything that I have you do in coaching has a reason. Everything is connected to a transformation that's available for you. So if you're getting coached and you're like, well, I ain't doing that, right? Like you may even just be thinking, and you may be like, she's telling me, this is a way to think about this. I refuse to think about it that way. I mean, you won't get the results that you can get if you're not willing to be coached. So always approach coaching with an open mind and open heart, saying, you know what, this girl paid off $600,000. She might know what she's talking about. She might. I don't know, she might. She looks crazy, but she might know. Right. Okay. And again, the guarantee is you pay $1,800 to get in here. You will pay off $1,800 in debt, or I'll give you your money back. And that is within the 3 months. And as you can see, there's already been several people who have done that in just the first month, not even a month of the mastermind. So this is a conservative estimate. I know this. That's why it's a guarantee, because I know that I can help you do this. Here's the link to join. There's a QR code. There is a button in your email. There's a website, 1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. We just talked about the money back guarantee. Private goal setting call. We talked about going from point A to point B. Co-working with the money squad. We've talked about the value of being in a place where everybody is laser focused on doing the same thing that you're doing. There's just so much power in that. I love community, and I love knowing that there are people who are like in the same boat as me and who are like moving forward just like I'm moving forward. So there's a QR code, 1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. And there is a button in your email. And if you are not on my email list, text Fran to 44144. I don't know what you're doing with your life, because I write really cool, funny stories in the email. I think they're funny anyway. So get on the email list and you will get financial coaching, okay, every week, delivered directly to your I was going to say in-basket, because that's what we used to call it at UTMB, in your inbox. All right, another testimonial. Both of those are so good. I don't know what that's in reference to, but managing my money is so much easier and actually fun at times after working with you. I don't know if that's a compliment or what. Empowered and confident are both emotions. Also for me is I feel I am in control, not my money controlling me. That is so powerful. Just knowing your money. I used to think about it this way when I was getting out of debt. I'm a very visual person. I've always had like a really playful imagination, but your money is like an army, right? They're just like a bunch of little troops, little army dollar bills, and they just want you to be the general. Like, they want you to be the commander of the money army. They just want you to tell them what to do. And if you don't tell them what to do, they're just going to run wild and shoot up the place, right? So your money wants you to be in control. Otherwise, it goes nuts. So you have to be a strong leader. And that's what we teach you inside the mastermind. We teach you how to be a strong leader for your money. And yes, it is actually fun. Do you offer a payment plan? I do not offer a payment plan for this offer. And the reason is that I want you to figure out how to pay for it. Okay. Before you even step foot into the coaching room, if you have figured out how to pay $1,800 for this program, you're going to be a totally new person already, right? Like you will start off as with a new identity. But on this webinar, I'm going to tell you how I would coach you to pay for it. That is here. Okay. This is something that I do. And this is something that I would coach you to do. Pen and paper, $1,800 at the top, because that's your goal. I want you to find 10 ways that you can get $1,800, right? On this paper, at least 10. You can do more than 10, but on this page, I want you to start off with whatever comes to the top of your mind. It can be the most ridiculous thing you think of. I want you to put that as number 1. And then I want you to keep going. Number 2. What's next? Number 3. What else? Number 4. What else could I do? Number 5, right? Where else can I get money? Number 6, right? And the reason I want you to do this is it's physiologic. So your brain is going to conserve energy. at all times. Like it's always going to do like the least amount of work. Like this is just so serious. It's going to do the least amount of work because evolutionarily it wants to just keep you safe, keep you alive. It's not trying to do anything special or fancy. And so when I say the program costs $1,800, your brain is going to be like, well, can't do that. Right? It's not even going to try to think of it. Right? And so I like to think of like your brain is like on the couch eating chips. It's just like chilling out. It's like, no, we ain't doing that. Right? But when we start to make a list, we get our brain off the couch, we get it on the trail. I want you to start like getting your brain on a hike, like it's walking on the trails, doing a little exercise. I wanted to start doing some work. And so what happens is you start off, one is the most ridiculous thing you can think of. Like I can be a clown at kids' birthday parties on Saturdays, right? It's just dumb. Just put it on there. It doesn't matter, right? No offense to clowns for kids' birthday parties. I have a client that every time I have her make a list like this, her number one is always like, well, too old to be a stripper, right? I would put that stripper, put that as number one. It doesn't matter. The point is that you're getting your brain off the couch and on the trail. Like you want your brain to start thinking. So you write down, how can I get $1,800? Here is the magic. When you get down to number 7, you start to have some really feasible ideas. And by the time you get to 10, you've got a solution, right? When you get to number 7, your brain is actually working. You may remember an account that you have. You may remember some stock you could sell. You may remember somebody owes you some money, right? Like there's a magic that happens when you just start putting your mind to work. We call this super thinking. Super think on that $1,800. Now, here's the difference. If you come into the coaching room, say you just have $1,800 or you charge it, say you put it on a credit card. You put on a credit card, $1,800, and you come into the coaching room and you're like, all right, coach, help me with my money, right? That's one way you can come into the coaching room. Or if I gave you a payment plan and you were just like, oh, okay, great, $600 a month for 3 months, no big deal. And you pay $600, you come into the coaching room. Okay, coach, show me how to manage my money. Versus if you come into the coaching room having made a list of 10 ways to find the money and you found the money and you paid in full, now you're walking into the coaching room like, I am a badass. I can figure this out. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to get what I came for. Right? Like the responsibility is on you. You are like, I can do this. Now, before I told you there were 2 things about the money back guarantee. One is like the details of the money back guarantee, and 2 is why I don't want you to use it. I never did tell you that second part. So I'll tell you in this because it's relevant to who you are when you come into this class, right? When you walk into this coaching room as someone who is like, I figured this out. I used something you gave me in a slide in the webinar, and I actually created a result in my life. I can do this. That's who I want in the room. That's the energy I want in the room. I'm going to figure this out. I can do this energy because I'm bringing you all the tools, right? I'm not asking you to create any tools. I'm bringing you all the tools. All I need you to do is be like in the energy of like, this is happening, come hell or high water. Right? So if you walk into the room like, okay, coach, give me what you got. And if it doesn't work, I'm getting my money back. Right? Like that's a totally different energy than someone who is like, I know there's a money back guarantee, which means that this must be really quality work that we're doing. Like she wouldn't say, I'll give you, your money back if she was, scamming people on the internet, right? She wouldn't say this is guaranteed unless it's going to work. So I'm bringing myself to this process and I know it's going to work. I've created $1,800 to be here. I'm going to get what I came for. If I don't get what I came for, I know that I'm going to get it. Maybe I don't get it in 3 months. I know I'm going to get it in 4 months, right? I don't even need my money back. I don't even need to know about the money back guarantee because I know that I'm here and I'm going to get what I came for. I'm going to learn some stuff in here. I'm going to break some old cycles. I'm going to break generational curses even, right? Like I am here to get some results. I'm going to change the way I think about money, right? So I am willing and able to give you your $1,800 back if it doesn't work for you. But I want you to be willing and able to be a totally different person walking into the room as someone who is ready to claim their results versus someone who wants me to hand them their results. Here is a link to join 1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. There is a QR code and there is a link in your email. It's already in your email inbox. I saw it pop up on my phone with the button to join. When you go to that website, you'll go to a cart, put in your information. It's $1,800, pay in full. On your confirmation page at the bottom, there's a link. I want you to click that. Once you pay, it'll like the very next page. Don't like go out of it and go take a nap or whatever. When you get to that page, it says, congratulations. At the bottom, there's a link. Click on that and set up your call with me. Set up your one-to-one goal setting call so we can get on the phone and I can formally congratulate you and we can start talking about what our goal will be and what the impact of this work will be. It's amazing, life-changing. This is it. The 2023, this is the year that you stop dealing with this. Okay. Like you become an excellent money manager. So this client says, we paid off our house in April, paid off 2 credit cards using the debt snowball. So I started this coaching group in December of 2020. By April of 2021, this client had paid off her house and 2 credit cards, right? Using the debt snowball, which is what I'm going to teach you inside Debt Free Mastermind, right? This is no small potatoes, people. This is not like we're just dilly-dallying. We're getting it done. We're getting it done. Life is too short to be stressed out about money. We should be having fun with money. If I have to put this on a credit card, isn't that just creating more debt? Yes, obviously, but no. Listen, seriously, if you have to, charge your entry investment for the Debt Free Mastermind, it's creating debt temporarily. But here's the reason why you're going to do it anyway. Because you're going to be putting something on your credit card anyway. You're going to be charging something on your credit card, whether it's Debt Free Mastermind or whatever it is, your kid's karate class or, new clothes, like whatever it is, you're going to be creating more debt, right? But the difference is if you're charging Debt Free Mastermind, what you're doing is you're buying a system that'll teach you how to never have to resort to credit cards again. Right? What you learn in Debt Free Mastermind teaches you how to use credit if you want to. And it's you using credit. It's a win-win between the credit card company and you. It's not like you have to charge it because you don't have any other way to pay for it. So if you consider charging Debt Free Mastermind, now, first of all, I want you to go through the list of 10 ways that you can get the money. And if the best way and the only way you can do it is to put it on a credit card, that's fine. But I want you to know that what you're buying by buying, debt is just buying money, right? What you're getting is that you're learning how to never have to rely on debt again. And that's more valuable than anything else that you're going to put on your credit cards. So your brain is going to try to tell you that, like, if you charge this program, you're just creating more debt and it doesn't make any sense. So I want you to talk back to your brain and realize that if you charge this program, you will learn how to never have to charge another program again, right? And so it's different. But I would never tell you how to pay for it. That's not my business, how you pay for it. But I will tell you that do the brainstorming exercise, do the super thinking to figure out 10 different ways. Because credit card may be the first thing that comes to your mind because it's a habit. It's like, oh, I can charge it, right? I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, I can charge it. I'm like, well, let me think of another way, right? You could just think of another way. That's just the first, that's number one on the list. That's like stripper, right? I can be a stripper, right? And credit card. Okay, what's number two? Okay, what's number three? Okay, what's number four? Let's just keep going. Okay. All right. So here's how you get in the room. You need to be in this room. Super small group of 5 people or less, right? That way you get personalized attention. You don't get lost in a sea of people, right? You are seen and heard. You are supported, right? We have live weekly coaching, meaning if you have a question, you bring the question, right? We coach you through it. If you get hung up on something on the spreadsheet or you break the spreadsheet somehow, it's never a problem, but you can get help right then and there, right? It's really valuable. If you have to miss a session, there are replays. Everything is recorded. You get the replay. The co-working is not recorded. So if someone's asking a question or something in the co-working and you miss that, you won't get that recorded. But typically I'll answer those like in general messages. So again, make sure you're on my email list. If you're watching this on Facebook and you're not like already on my email list, easy to get on the email list. Just text Fran to 44144. You can also go to 1millionspenders.com. And if you're joining Debt Free Mastermind today, which I highly recommend because we're starting on Monday, go to 1millionspenders.com/join DFM. Join -DFM stands for Debt Free Mastermind. This one we already saw. Why do you have a money back guarantee? Okay, so this question haven't addressed it yet. So the reason I have a money back guarantee is that I'm a spender and I've spent a lot of money on programs. And I know a lot of spenders who have spent a lot of money on programs, especially solutions on how to manage money. And as I've said several times before, your self-trust takes a hit every time you buy something that doesn't work. And you just feel like your thought is like, I just wasted money, right? And that makes you feel like I'm not good with money. And so I decided to have a money back guarantee because all of my clients are spenders. And if nothing else, I want you to feel safe with me. I want you to feel safe in dealing with me. I want you to feel safe in anything I recommend for you to do, because I know what it feels like to already have trauma with money and then wonder if you're making another mistake, right? Like, what if this doesn't work for me? Right? If it doesn't work for you, I get your money back, right? You're not losing anything. You have nothing to lose. If it doesn't work for you, for whatever reason, you try it, get your money back, right? That's all. Okay. I just told you about that. I'm going to skip because we have this. Okay. So another testimonial. I just stopped 30 minutes ago. It's so fun. It is what my mind needed. I haven't been able to wind down, but the sheets did it. Okay. So out of context, this text is like, what is happening? But what happened is I recommend that you work on your money. So the tracking, we do the tracking for an hour a week, but sometimes especially if you're feeling anxious, when you track, it helps to calm you down. It's like really like oddly calming. It's very calming in a strange sort of way because it's data entry and you're like, what? But really it's very odd. Like you feel really calm. So what happened in this case is we did the tracking for an hour. Everybody got off, but got off the call. And then, once you're off the call, like, I don't know what you're doing, right? So this particular person like kept going. They kept going with their tracking, even though nobody else was on the Zoom with them, just because they were like still going. They just still wanted to keep going. So she sent me a message that I just stopped 30 minutes ago. So she had tracked for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And she said it was fun. right? It's something you don't hear every day. And she said it was what her mind needed, because her mind, she had so much anxiety before tracking, and she wasn't able to wind down and get her nervous system to calm down. But working on her spreadsheets, that's what the sheets, working on her spreadsheets helped to like focus her mind, calm her down. And there's really something about like knowing what your money is doing. And I always say this, even if it's a dumpster fire, like seriously, even if your worst case scenario is actually happening in your finances, just seeing it and knowing it makes you feel calm. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I recommend that everybody get in here. It's life changing. It really is. Okay. And I think I just answered this. What if it doesn't work for me? Right. Um, so I've answered it from the standpoint of like I've spent money and it doesn't work for me, but I want to answer from the standpoint of like, why wouldn't it work for you? Because if it doesn't work for you, the first thing we would do is, number one, especially when I say be coachable, that means like if something is happening and it's not working for you, I want you to come to me and say like, hey, I'm having this issue, or I'm not quite sure why, but I can't make it to co-working. I just can't sit down and do it. And I really hate it. You know, like I want you to be radically honest and tell me, because that's the only way I can help you. So if you're like, what if it doesn't work for me? Then I want to know, what is it, right? Like, let's talk about it. What part isn't working for you? Is it making the time to do it? Is it the spreadsheet? Is it, like what part of it is not working for you? And once we get to that, then we can coach and see what's really happening, right? So, tracking, I found, does not work for savers at all. They feel like it's redundant, it's a waste of time. A lot of savers can just kind of look at their statement and be like, oh, okay, that's all the information I need. But what I found is that spenders really need to have their hands in the clay, so to speak, right? They really need to be doing something, with the money to really get the impact of how the spending is affecting the entire financial situation. And so if a lot of times I'll hear, spenders saying, not a lot of times, just a couple times I've heard spenders saying like, oh, I don't like the tracking. It just feels really redundant. And then we start talking about their goals, and they see how the tracking is going to be the key to their goals. And suddenly that mindset shift is like, oh, okay, so the tracking doesn't feel redundant when you see this actually the key to getting out of debt, to being able to quit your job if that's what you want, to being able to do whatever you want to do. And so that little shift helps for them to, really see like, oh, okay, never mind. It's not redundant. It's amazing. Right. So my answer to this question is like, if it's not working for you, let me know as soon as you feel like it's not working for you, and we'll figure out why. Okay, here's the QR code. The website is 1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. It's a 12-week program, meaning there is a curriculum. We're not, just kind of shooting in the dark here. Like, there is an actual process that I walk you through with coaching as part of that. So we do a step, and then we see what's happening in our mind as we do that step. And so I coach you, and we see, what's either holding us back or where do we need to focus. And we go through all the processes I was telling you guys about earlier. So there's that. It's also in your email. There's a button for you just to click, and it takes you straight to the checkout page. Okay. And when you get the confirmation page, so when you get to the checkout page, you put in your payment information, you click pay now. I think it's what it says. It takes you to a confirmation page. It says, congratulations. At the bottom of that, there's a link, and that's to book your private goal setting call with me. Okay. So that's a bonus. You join today, you get the private goal setting call. Okay, some more wins. So I think I asked my clients, what are your wins? And this is one that I got back. I got a few smaller debts paid out. I learned to face my money fears, and no debt is going to eat me alive, right? It's so good. Learning to analyze and accept the emotions linked to any money situation in life, and being a part of this group. Yes, that is a huge step. So good. Yes. So when you have a a debt snowball. You line up your debts from smallest to largest. So she got to pay off a few of her smaller debts. So like her first few debts on the debt snowball, right? And facing the money fears and knowing that the debt is not going to kill you, the fear, whatever you're afraid of, it's not going to kill you. And she says, eat me alive. It's a real feeling. We really feel threatened by these thoughts in our head. So we coach through those. And then you realize like, oh, this isn't as scary as I thought, right? And then she says, learning to analyze and accept the emotions linked to any money situation, right? Because all we're really afraid of is feeling an emotion. We're afraid to feel embarrassed. We're afraid to feel shame, right? We're afraid to feel like there's some shame that comes with comparing ourselves to other people. That's what keeping up with the Joneses comes from. We're buying a big house because they have a big house, and we're buying a BMW because they have a BMW. And it's like, we're going deeper and deeper into debt because we don't want to feel ashamed of not having what other people have. So once you're not afraid to feel ashamed anymore, like you can do anything, right? You know, you're invincible if you're like willing to feel shame. You're not afraid of it. You can do anything. I'm not a spender, but I know a spender who needs help. How can I tell them without offending them or sounding controlling? So this is a question I got a couple weeks ago. I had to really think about this one because I was like, you're not a spender. So this one came from like a mom, and her adult child was her adult child. Her adult child who was a spender and constantly asking for money and constantly running out of money, and you know, the rent needs to be paid and yada yada yada. And she was like, how can I tell them that they need a financial coach without offending them or sounding controlling, right? And so it really took me a while to think of this, and I realized, you know what if you offend them? Right? Like, what if you just say, hey, I know a financial coach, you need to talk to her, text Fran to 44144, right? Like, what if they get offended? What if they're like, oh, well, I never, right? Clutch my pearls. You're telling me I need a financial coach, right? Like, what if they get offended? What if you sound controlling? Right? It's kind of like we were talking about with shame. Like, what if you're not afraid to offend them? And what if you're not afraid to sound controlling? Are you willing to offend someone in order to get them the help that they need? Are you willing to sound controlling in order to get them the help that they need? Right? If you know that it's guaranteed that your adult child is not going to have problems paying their rent anymore, and their adult child, even if they just listen to this, if they come to this webinar, that they pick up some things that are going to help them, right? Or even if they just get on my email list and they pick up some tips here and there that actually help them make a difference, are you willing for them to be offended in order to get that help? If it makes a difference, right? Because if they're offended in the moment, but they actually kind of like, you know, get a little bit, dip a toe into the community, the financial coaching for spenders community, and things change, I'll tell you, they're not going to be offended for too much longer. They're going to be like, this is amazing. Have you seen the money go round? This is amazing. Thanks, mom. Right? So for anybody, if you have someone in your life that you feel like needs help, tell them about it. The worst thing that can happen is that you'll feel bad that you've offended them. It's the worst thing that can happen. And you can handle feeling bad. I promise you won't die. Here we are, just to recap, the Debt-Free Mastermind. That's the program. It's a 12-week program, weekly live coaching in a super small group. I'll tell you, by the end of 3 months, these people will be your best friends, because you'll be having these high level conversations about money that you can't have with family and friends, right? A lot of times we want to talk to our friends about money and they have their own money baggage, right? And here's the thing. It's a funny thing. You're getting coached, right? Your friends are not getting coached. So the level of conversation that you want to have about money, they're not going to have that. They're going to still be in, shame and maybe some victim mentality and maybe lots of baggage and lots of lots of mind garbage that you won't have. So it'll be really hard for you to have a conversation with family and friends. But when you come to your mastermind, you can say things out loud to people that you wouldn't be able to say to people in your life. Right? Like you can talk about how much money you have, how much money you've saved, how much debt you've paid off without somebody feeling like you're competing with them. Sometimes your friends they use you as a mirror. Like if you're doing something, they feel a little bit like threatened, like, how come you can do that? I'm not doing that. Right. So you don't have to worry about those situations. Like when you're in the mastermind, you have this freedom to talk about money in a very empowered way that you may not be able to have with friends and family. It's amazing. It's incredible. 1millionspenders.com/join-DFM. Oh, this is a long one. Okay. So I'm not going to read all of these because some of these are an inside joke. But I asked my clients about their wins from the work that we do together. And she came out with 10 of these, right? Like so good. Declared my wealth, identify what's coming in and going out of my bank account, big picture view of my assets and investments. For the first time ever, I can submit a spreadsheet to my accountant and not request an extension for my income tax return. Like that's amazing, right? For the first time ever, to be able to pay your taxes on time, it's amazing. Okay. Lots of things. Okay. The side effects of coaching. All right. So I added this in because I was having, so I got a lot of questions in through like the DMs and email and in real life, real life. But then I also was having conversations with financial professionals. And I was like, oh, these are not really questions, but these are conversations. And so I wanted to put in some of the side effects of this work that we do, because in the Debt Free Mastermind, we're working on paying off debt, right? But there are some other things that happen along the way that are like amazing, that have nothing really to do with paying off debt, but it has everything to do with who you are as a money manager after doing this work. And so one of them is tax time is easier. And like we just saw with the previous testimonial, tax time is easier because you have the spreadsheet, right? The spreadsheet was designed to be something you can take, like right now it's March. In February, you take the sheet and you send it to your CPA. And oh my gosh, right? They have everything they need because you've been updating it all year, and they have everything that they need to do your taxes, especially if you're a small business. And if you are, we can talk about that because there is a way to track your finances as a small business. You can send that to your CPA. They're happy. They can do your taxes. It makes it so much easier. Everything's on time. Everything's organized, right? You're not giving them a shoebox full of receipts. You're not asking for an extension because you just have to get not even think about it. You don't even want to look at it, right? Like none of that is happening anymore. You're finally #adulting with your taxes, right? Tax time is so much easier. The other reason why tax time is easier when you're getting coaching is that one of the big things for me is partnering with all of the financial entities that you need to succeed, right? So you can't succeed with money if you have an antagonistic relationship with the IRS, right? So I help you have a relationship with the IRS in your mind where you feel like you're partnered with the IRS, right? And you have a relationship with your CPA where you feel partnered with your CPA. Your CPA is not emailing you and calling you, and you're just like ignoring the phone calls and not calling back, which is what a lot of spenders do and have been doing when we first start working together. right? Because it's like so scary to talk to them. Like now you feel empowered, like you're the leader of your money team and they're a helper, and you give them the job to do, and they're so eager and happy to help you, right? So that's a side effect of coaching. Here is the link, 1millionspenders.com/join DFM. I am going to have to go and get my kids from school in a minute. So here is the QR code. Here is the link to join. It's also in your email. If you join today, there's a private goal setting call where we'll work on your goals. You've seen the program, you've got the bonuses. This is life-changing. If you are ready to pay off debt and you want to do it fast, this is where we add the gasoline to the fire. Okay. This is going to change your life or your money back. I promise you. So this is like the best place. So I always say this because I feel so protective of spenders. This is the best place for spenders to learn how to manage money. Supportive community, non-judgmental support. We coach on shame, guilt, blame, regret. We coach on all those things. It's like we take your whole heart, and it's like mind, body, and soul. We care for your whole heart. It's not just like cut your credit cards, eat beans and rice, put this money in an IRA. It's like, no, we talk about all of the things that you need to succeed so that you can proceed, move forward with confidence and that calm that I was telling you about. Okay. So I have more Q&A that I didn't get to. So I'm just going to email you with the answer to those questions. And that is it. I hope that I see you in the mastermind soon or on the private goal setting call. I'm excited to meet you face to face because this webinar is like, I don't see anybody. It's just like, I don't see anybody. And I don't see you on Facebook right now either because I have this screen open, but I am just, my heart is out there, that, you know, that you are hearing these words and they're landing in the way that they're meant to land, and that I'm answering the questions that you have because, you know, I remember being in that stage where I had a lot of debt and I didn't know what to do. And so I figured out what to do, and now I want to share with you so you don't have to figure it out. All right. So any of my emails that you get, you can reply to them and I read those personally. I'm a one-woman show. I don't have a team reading my emails or anything like that. So if you have a question for me or something that you saw today, just send me a reply to the email and I will help you out. I will reply back to you. We can hop on a call. So I hope that this was helpful. I give you a lot of information. I know it was like information overload, but I want you to know that regardless of the fact that I gave you a lot of information today, there is so much more help that's waiting for you inside. If you can believe that, like it feels like nobody knows how to help spenders manage money. And I'm telling you, there's so much help for you inside this program. So if you think this was a lot, I'll tell you, we go step by step specifically for what you need, and there's no stone that's uncovered. There's nothing you can tell me at this point that'll make me say, well, you're the one person who can't get out of debt fast. No, there's nothing you can tell me. I've literally seen it all, and I can help you no matter what your situation is. So do not feel discouraged. So just come on in and let's get started and let's see what results you can create. I want to have a testimonial from you up here on the presentation next time. All right. So have a wonderful day and I will see you later. Bye.